So I saved up $40,000 in order to be able to quit my job and launch my independent creative career as a YouTuber, artist, video producer. I left my last day job at the beginning of 2021, so it's been a little over a year, and I'm definitely glad that I had the cushion. But it took a lot of intentionality and discipline and long-term thinking in order to get to that point. So I want to share with you how I got there, how I was thinking about this creative point in my life, and some things for you to think about if you might be considering jumping off into your own period of creative independence. Hey, it's your girl Asante, helping you move consciously and creatively through life, so let's go. I first started to have this idea around 2018, and I've kind of always known that I wanted to be independent. I was freelance for a little bit right out of college, but I did know I needed a day job for the consistent income just to build my financial foundation. But when I realized in 2018 that it was going to be time for me to jump off soon, I was working in public media and helping different stations and production companies run their YouTube channels. And I was like, I could do this. I'd had my own YouTube channel since college, and I figured that I should, take this more seriously and maybe actually be able to build my career around my own work. And in order to do that, in order to give it its undivided attention, I knew that I'd have to take some time off from working those conventional day jobs. So I had seen some artist residency programs out there, but I wanted to be able to self-fund and really take the time that I needed regardless of whether I got into any sort of external program. So my goal was really to build my own artist residency, to take a year off from doing any other work and be able to solely focus on my work and my craft and telling the stories and developing my YouTube channel. So that became my savings goal. Since then, when I did actually jump off, I actually got some interesting consulting inquiries. So I have been doing some work here and there for other folks in addition to my own work. And I also wound up getting a grant from YouTube, which was super helpful and gave me even more runway. So I actually haven't just been living off of the 40K over the past year, which is what my initial plan had been. I've been very fortunate and had some great earning opportunities come my way, but I'm still really glad that I had that 40K of cushion to know that I was going to be held over regardless. And I'll also bring up that I live in DC, which is one of the most expensive cities in the US, so 40K is, a good chunk for sure, but given the cost of living, it's not like an exorbitant amount. So in order to save up for my makeshift artist residency period, I did a combination of spend very frugally and spend as little as possible, basically, and I needed to increase my income. Both are important. I feel like folks often talk about ways to cut back on spending, but increasing your earning is also something to focus on. So I'll start with how I was minimizing my spending. And these are things that I was doing to control my expenses at that time. Now that I'm running my own business, my expenses have increased, but I'll get to that later in the video. But this is how I was keeping my expenses low at the time. So the big thing with the regular expenses is rent. So ever since graduating from college, I've always had at least one, if not several, roommates up until the end of last year. That was the first time where I was able to afford to live on my own now. But having those roommates was definitely an intentional decision to cut down on those rent expenses. I also was not supporting any family members. I didn't have any kids or anything like that. Also didn't have to support parents, which was nice and a privilege for sure. And I also didn't have any pets because, that would be another mouth to feed. So keeping myself responsible just for myself. I also avoided buying a car. So I am in DC. It's a public transit accessible place. And I did not want to have to deal with paying for not only the car note, but insurance and gas and parking and maintenance and everything that goes along with that. So overall, I had very few bills. And then I feel like there are different categories of things that people spend on a regular basis that I just didn't. I was very frugal and watching my expenses, and so these are the things that I did not buy on a regular basis. I did not regularly buy clothing. I built a wardrobe that I liked, and then I stuck to that. I would maybe refresh my wardrobe like once a year and buy a handful of pieces, and I would always set a budget of, okay, I have $100 or $200 to spend on a couple of pieces for usually the summer. I love my summer clothing. But that would be maybe like once or twice a year. I would focus on what specific holes in the wardrobe that I had, but I would not be like regularly hitting up them all. In the last day job that I had, I was going to be working more in an office environment, and before I had been wearing like the same pair of jeans every day for the past year or so to the office. And in the new office, people seem to be wearing like pants. So I was like, let me get me some pants. And then the pandemic hit, and we were in a distinctly no to low pants period. So the pants did not get as much wear as I was anticipating, but I did things like that, intentionally building out a wardrobe only to the degree that it was actually necessary for the occasion. Another category that I really don't spend on regularly is beauty. I stopped getting my hair done in college. That was part of the inspiration for me to big chop. I just did not have the time to go to the hairdresser and spend several hours every several weeks and spend like $100 on getting my hair done. So I was like, this doesn't feel worth it. It grows out of my own head. Shouldn't I be able to take care of it myself? And I've been taking care of my own hair ever since. I feel like, there's so much culture around women getting their hair done and their nails done and, mani-pedi and fancy skincare and nail polish and all of those things that just feel really non-essential to me. I'm just like, why? In fact, now, makeup is a business expense because I really only wear it when I'm doing activities related to my business. So by making it something that was only special occasions rather than every day, I wasn't regularly spending on makeup, hair, skincare, beauty stuff. I also did not spend on furniture. So at the time, basically all of my furniture had been inherited from previous roommates. My very first sublet out of college, I got fully furnished. Like the bedroom had a bed with a mattress and a desk chair and curtains and I think a couple other small things. So I basically got all this furniture for free and I held on to it ever since. I still sleep on that bed frame. And then over the years, as roommates have churned in and out, I have picked up an extra chair here or a side table there. That couch is from a previous roommate. My dining room table and chairs is from a previous roommate. I once heard someone say in passing that they were trying to upgrade their apartment and wanted, to get some nice furniture, not like IKEA furniture. And at the time I thought, wow, my nice furniture is IKEA furniture. Like, that's the stuff that I've splurged on. So that's the level that I was at with my apartment decor. Another area where I really wasn't spending much was entertainment. I love a good cocktail. I love going out for drinks, but I was not going out very often. I wouldn't even go out once a week. And it was nice because at the time I could either be socializing and mingling with my coworkers, who I also liked, and I had some personal friends, so I would just go over to their place or they'd come over to mine. I really wasn't subscribing to media or magazines or any sort of entertainment subscription services either. With a couple of exceptions, I do support people on Patreon, and I was at the time too. And I was also on Spotify. I love Spotify. I love my music. I love my tunes. If you follow me on Instagram, you see my daily dance outs. So, music and dancing to the music and vibing to the music is definitely part of feeding my soul, part of guarding my mental health. So that is important to me, not only on an entertainment level, but really on a spiritual level. So that was worth that monthly subscription. And then if I wanted to watch something in particular or consume a piece of media in particular, I'd pay for a subscription for that month while I was consuming the thing. So if I wanted to see something on Netflix, then I'd buy the Netflix subscription, cancel it so it would just be for that month, and then when the subscription ran out, I would buy it again if I was still watching it. Or if I wasn't still watching it, then it wouldn't continue to charge me. Watching TV on a regular basis is also something that I stopped doing in college, also because I didn't have a lot of time. So now, again, I can still do it, but it's a special occasion. It's, okay, I'm going to watch this show or check out this series that I'm really excited about and that people are talking about, rather than being a daily habit or a weekly habit. I was also being more economical with my meals, so I would try to cook as much as I could at home, although spending on food is the first thing that I will spend on when I do have a little discretionary income. There is a place called Meze that was like a short walk from where I worked because the salads were so good. They were so delicious. I love a good Mediterranean salad, and all of those flavors and marinades are too complex for me to make at home. And so I would wind up having a late lunch, so I could go at like 2 p.m. or even 3 p.m. sometimes after the lunch rush, get a salad for $10 that's a huge meal, and then basically not eat dinner or like eat a very light snack. So it was worth it to me, but I was still like keeping the cost in mind, and it was a $10 salad, not like a $15 salad. And then I also did not go shopping as a recreational activity. I tried to really need something about 3 to 5 times before I would buy it, rather than giving into any impulse purchases. And I also didn't have any of the subscription boxes that will kind of bring shopping to you or like bring the clothes to you. Basically, I was trying to only buy things that I really needed, right? Like there are things that you need, things that you want, and things that would be nice. Like you didn't even really want it, but you saw it in the window and you were like, oh, that would be nice. So if I needed something, I would get it. Sometimes that meant saving up over the course of maybe 3 months to buy a $400 item. I was trying to buy quality so that I didn't have to replace things. I also didn't get credit card debt. I do not believe in consumer debt at all. But things basically had to be a need before I'd try to go buy it. And if it was a want, I wanted to really want it and have wanted it for a while. So that was the frugality and minimizing my spending side of the equation. And the other side is to increase my earnings, and that was mainly through getting a better paying job. I am definitely one to leave a job when I am no longer growing or no longer feeling that I'm being paid commensurate to the value that I'm providing the company. I've tried to take jobs where I'm learning new skills and applying my knowledge in different ways. I find that to be more interesting for me, and then I'm also growing my skill set as I go along. So that means I'm getting more and more valuable to the company as I have more experience under my belt, and so I should be getting paid more as I progress. So I've tried to work in those types of positions where the skills will be translatable to another company and I can bring that value to another environment, because let's face it, these companies are not giving raises like they should. So basically within my jobs, I'm trying to regularly either move up or move out. So I'd gotten to a point in one of my day jobs where I was being dramatically underpaid for the level of work that I was then doing. It was very obvious if you did any research that I was being paid far under what the market would command for my work, and honestly far under what the company itself would pay for my work if they had hired me directly from the outside. So I was like, okay, I need a raise. You know, my skills deserve a raise. The market would pay more for my work, and I need more if I'm going to be able to save any significant amount of money, right? And I was like, there's no reason why I should be like providing this level of value and like leading projects and be having to scrimp so hard on my day-to-day bills. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so I was like, okay, let me look around in the market and see what's out there and see what I need. And, you know, I will, of course, ask my employer to pay me an appropriate amount, not thinking that I would get accepted because, of course, people like to do or employers like to do the percentage raises as opposed to the appropriate amount based on the work that you're doing. But that's part of how loyalty is actually punished, right? So if you started at entry level, got to get on out of there to make decent money. So I was like, okay, so let me do my math. And I worked out in a little budget. And once I discovered Notion, I did my budgeting in Notion. And I was saying, okay, looking at what I have now and what my budget is now, what do I need to live today? And what was nice about the Notion budget that I constructed is that I could do a second budget for a future financial situation. So I was like, when I jump off from my day job, what will my expenses in these same budget categories be then? And how much would I need to be spending a month then versus spending now? If you're curious about my exact Notion system, I will link to the budget template in the description. So I had my categories, I had my current times budget and my Independence Creative Year budget, and that's how I came up with $40K needing to be what I saved up so that I would have a year's worth of living expenses living on my own, as well as a couple of startup costs for the business, like I knew I needed to buy a new computer. So I said, okay, this is how much I have in savings now. I want to reach 40K hopefully in the next year or so, and these are my current monthly expenses. So this is how much I would need to save each month and then over the year. So what pre-tax salary would I need in order to reach my savings goal? So that's the salary that I should ask for or look for in a new job. And it turns out that I happened to be sent a job listing that was right within my range. So I was very lucky, in that I didn't even have to do a full search. The job found me, and I was like, great, this is great. And it needed exactly the skills that I had, and they were super excited to have me, and I was bringing something new to the organization. And so I made the move and definitely increased my savings ability. And I was actually very lucky because that was 3 months before the pandemic hit. So if I had waited or conducted a full job search, I probably would have been blown. So glad that I made the move when I did. Definitely acknowledging the good fortune in that. So then for the next year and a quarter, I was able to save $2,000 per month. And I know that I saved exactly that amount because I took it out off the top. So I got paid twice a month, and right when I got my paycheck, I would have $1,000 automatically transferred into my savings account. Pay yourself first. So what was left in the account was what I had left to work with and spend for the month. And I knew from my budget that I had certain expenses that were fixed, like rent, and then the rest would be my spending money. And what's nice is since I had mapped out that timeline for myself and I knew I needed to save that $2,000 a month, and then I automated that savings, I reached my savings goal right on time and was able to quit my job at the beginning of last year. So if you're trying to jump off into your own creative career, I'm not saying that you need to have $40,000 in the bank. Everyone's risk tolerance is different. I am not big into taking financial risks. I like to have that cushion and runway. I know some people are like, I just moved to New York with $5,000 and figured it out. And I am way more type A than that, and I just worry about details way too much for that to ever sit well with my soul. So I definitely wanted to have my plan, and I definitely wanted to have room for contingencies in case things didn't go to plan, which came in very handy. There were a lot of things that I didn't realize I was going to need to do, or I didn't realize the extent to which I'd need to put forth time and effort and money into the things to set myself up. So I was really grateful to have that nice bit of runway. And I was setting myself up as a business, not just a freelance individual, but someone who's really running their own company and their own enterprise. So there was a longer learning curve than I had anticipated. It took me more time, more months to get through that initial learning period. And there were tools that I didn't know that I needed that I then needed to buy or wanted to invest in to make sure that I had the best foundation possible. That's part of why the grant from YouTube helped me to be even more confident in quitting my job. And then the consulting work that came my way that year also helped. I mean, this background that you see, that took some work and some funds to set up. So I've definitely been spending a lot more money recently. Honestly, having been in saving mode for so many years, it's a little uncomfortable. But in either case, whether I've been in saving mode in order to launch my business or in spending mode in order to support my business and invest in my business, I've been intentional, I've been thoughtful about what I'm spending and the long-term goals behind it. And so far, it's been worth it. If you liked this video, then you might also like the video that I did on my 7 income streams as an independent creative. I'll link that here. And if you really liked this video, then consider joining the Brilliant Beans. Those are the folks who make these videos possible. As always, remember to live spiritedly and think creatively, and I will see you next time.